Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Angela, the Traveling Crafter. And if you're new here, I love doing paper crafting. I love doing DIY projects. I love thrifting for vintage treasures and of course, traveling. So what are we gonna do today, you may ask? Well, I had this project on my desk and I have been cleaning up before my little vacation is coming up. And everything is just about clear off of my desktop in my craft room, except for this. And I thought, well, why not take a little time and show you a couple projects with full sheets of wallpaper. Now, if you don't have access to wallpaper books, that is fine. I do have some connections where you can find some. If you go to the Maker's Market, there are several shop owners in the Maker's Market who sell wallpaper, and that includes myself. Sarah from New England Junk Journals sells them. Carol from Crinkled Path sells them, and perhaps a couple of more. But it's back to school time, and these wallpaper, I wish I would have thought of this when my kids were younger, but these wallpaper full-size pieces are so versatile. I've been using them for a lot of things, and we're just going to experiment with a couple today. But let me show you a few things that I've made. I was cleaning, and Demi had some glitter, and now I have glitter everywhere. This is just a little folio that I made. I just whipped it up real quick, just as a template. But these are three. I didn't cover them. I didn't do anything with them. I just left them as they are. But they're just three little envelopes that you would, mail things in. And what I did is I cut the one end and then left the other end. So they're just open at one end, clasp at this end, open, and then the same on this side. And I used 3 envelopes. So I have 6 pockets in here. And if I had wanted to, I could have then added paper in between each one to kind of separate my signatures. But I was just doing this as a template. And, maybe I'll just put this on my shelf and decorate it down the road or do something with it. So this is one thing we're going to do. We're going to make this cover. And I'll show you how I did this. I probably won't sew in the signature. Probably. So that's one example of what you can use with your sewing or with your wallpaper to make something kind of cool. This one I made a while ago, again, as a template, and I just used the full entire paper. And this one is a lot longer. This is 11 inches. So if I were to do this again, I would probably make the pockets deeper so it wasn't quite so long. But this I just did Midori style. So this is just a snappy little thing of elastic. And I folded it so it would fold onto itself into an envelope type of folder. And just put a little piece of Velcro. So that's another way that you can use these. And finally, the one that I think is most back to school-esque, because I totally would have used these, and they're really heavy. Like, wallpaper is strong. It's meant to last. Is this simple folder. Isn't that adorable? Yeah, I thought so too. So I whipped this last one up, and I thought what I would do is show you, this one's pretty easy. I'll show you how I did. I mean, I don't think you guys need to have a tutorial on how I folded these in half, but these are basically the same things. So all you're going to do, I'm just going to use this sheet that's underneath here because I don't think it's two-sided. When I did them before, I put 2 pieces together and then sewed them. This one is not sewn. But all you would do is fold it up to where you want it, the height you would want it, and you can measure it on your mat, or if you don't have a mat, just use a ruler, and then you just fold it in half. However, because this one is not two-sided. I didn't sew it together. The other thing that you can do is you can fold it like this. And now I'm just going to pop some glue on here just to keep it down. I'll sew it later. So I'm just going to put some glue in the middle. I'm going to pop this together. If you need to, you can use your bone folder. And you can use and make this very same envelope type folio by doing it this way. So now our total height is going to be about 7.5 inches. And it will depend on how big a piece of wallpaper you have. But the way that I made this, and we'll do one of these two, is you simply just fold it to where you want your flap to actually go out so that you can fit paper in it. And I'm going to measure before I push this down with my bone folder. So that's only, it's going to be about 6.5. I think I'm going to make it 7, let's see. Yeah, I think 7 inches will be fine. All right, so now you're just going to fold it with your finger, press it down with something, whether you have a bone folder or the back of your scissors. I just choked. And now we're going to just simply fold this over. My paper is not exactly straight. Excuse me. I am telling you, I am having a struggle with the allergies. Both Dave and I. My eyes are terribly itchy. All right, so I'm going to have to trim this down a little bit before I sew it, because you can see there, and it's off here a little bit too. I suppose I could sew that, or sew it, cut it right now. Oops, I just realized this isn't on here. And that's all there is to it, truthfully. I am going to make it look like a little more of an envelope by cutting the edges here in a second. So all it's going to do is it's going to open up, and then we're going to put our signature when we're ready in there. Now this particular one does not have any pockets because we are making this two-sided. But if you wanted, you would, I'll show you on the next one. We'll do it that way. All right, so now I'm just going to make sure this is all pretty much even. And it is. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. And what I think I am going to do, I'm going to actually take my scissors. Maybe. My goodness. Okay, and I'm just going to go score a line there so I know exactly where to cut it. And then I'm just going to cut that off. And this is important because I want it to match exactly on this side. So I'm just going to flip this around. And, oops, there we go. I'm going to hold this down just so there we go. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I could have just tried to cut it, but apparently my skills holding a pair of scissors right now is not very good, so let's just do it this way. All right, now my envelope flap is done. And all there is left to do is take it to the sewing machine so I can sew everything together and then add my Velcro, and I now have my flap. I do need to cut this. And I'm probably going to pop some glue in the middle of this as well, because once you fold it over, then it starts to move again, and then it gets a little bit off. So at least this way it's glued down. But that's all there is to it, you guys. See what I'm saying? So once that dries, I'll cut that again. All right, let's try one where we are actually using a huge full-size piece. Now I want this flower to be mainly on the front. I have already gone ahead and glued it together in the middle, just like I did with the last one. But like I said before, I want this one to be a little bit shorter. So let's go ahead and fold this up. Let's see, if I fold it about, yeah, 10 inches, I think is going to be good. So it's a big, big, big pocket. But I'm okay with that because I really love this pattern. And I think it will be very cool. All right, so now I've got that. I'm going to go ahead and really get that scored. Now I'm going to figure out where I want this to be. So I want to be able, in this instance, to put, maybe, if I can, if it's big enough, if I do that, if I put an 8.5 piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, well, yeah, I'm only left with this much, so that's okay. We'll just do it. We'll do it at 7. And we gotta kind of, this is a little bit harder because we're folding basically 4 pieces of paper because this is doubled up. So now we're gonna have to really use some muscle and fold it like this. You can do this with large wrapping paper. I just sold a, it was a John Darien wrapping paper book. Now I know that this is going to be off a little bit because I've got all those layers and I'm going to have to trim it up, but that's okay. In one of my live sales, and those pages are huge. In fact, they're bigger than a piece of wallpaper. So something like that, if you back it or collage on it, would be perfect to use as well if you don't have wrapping paper. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece out because that's just adding bulk. And when you could see, when I folded it over, that's not even adding up, right? So all I'm going to do is take, and I know you might not be able to see me totally on film or on camera. Try my best here. And you're just going to cut this piece out. And then you're going to save said pieces of paper in your scrap bin and use them for something else. So there you go. All right. Now we have our flap that's not going to touch there. It looks like I need to maybe trim this off just a bit more. I think you should give this a go. I think you're going to like it. I started making these just simple ones like this one that I'm using to put like bundles together in and different kinds of things that I'm selling on the Maker's Market. So it's worked really, really well. All right. Now that's better. So it's not going to hit that. That is, you know, when it's all done. This one I think I'm going to round this time. But we've got this issue here that is we've got to address. So one of the things that might help this is by cutting this and giving it a little bit of room so that it can fold onto, fold up onto here. I didn't do that very well. Oops, it's not quite. There we go. So we just want to check and see. I didn't get that quite straight, but that's okay. So I just went on the right side of that line, and now I'm going to go on the left side. It's kind of hard here because there's that line, and it kind of that was in the pattern, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But I think it'll be okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. Now, all of this needs to be pressed down once again so it's nice and tight. This one looks pretty good. This one I know I need to trim it up on that side, so let's just get it pressed down really nice. And you really, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do about the fact that that happens. The fact that it happens is because there's a lot of stuff there. Now, I think that I could, if I wanted, I could fold this down just for a little fun element on both of these, just to give it a little bit more interest. And then when I sew this, I'll just sew all of that down. I can leave this open, and then it can be an up tuck. All right, so we've got this. We'll take this all to my sewing machine. Before we do that, let's fold this up, and I feel like I want to round these corners. So I'm going to round just this one. So that's good. And then I think I'm just going to round these as well, just for a different look. And I probably, there we go. I'm doing this now so that when I get to the sewing machine, I can go around the corner. This is pretty nice wallpaper. It doesn't really want to do that business. So what I will do is sew all the way around. Let me show you. I will sew all the way around here. I will probably sew around this just for some decorative elements, and then all the way across the top. And likely I will just leave this and then glue it, but we'll see what it looks like, and then we can go from there. Now, I won't use these for this project because they don't really match, but maybe I can find something, some smaller envelopes, do maybe a staggered envelope thing, and go from there. But all you would do, all I did, is I took one of them and closed it up and just left it how it was. And I only have two as well. And then I took this one and I also closed it up just so it's easier to work with. So I have this one on this side, this one on this side, and then I just took a very thin piece right at the edge. And I don't know that I'm going to use these, so I'm just going to do this one so you can see. Look how tiny that little piece is. And now it's open. So when I fold this in half, I now have those pockets. But like I said, I don't want to do that yet, because if I am going to use these particular ones, I probably will want to cover them with something or do something with them so that they match these pretty colors of this beautiful folio. I love it. Now I'm going to have to do this, but not until after I sew it. And then I'll just take a little couple Velcro dots, pop them on there, and it will be done. So there you have it, friends. Really simple ways to create some very sturdy but very fun and pretty folios, folders, whatever you wish to call them, whether it's for back to school or whether you're using them for your own personal use or whether you're popping them in Happy Mail for friends. They can be used over and over and over again, and I hope you give them a try. Until next time, friends, remember to take time to just be. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.